Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. I'm just chilling out up here, checking out the view. Boy oh boy do I love this base, definitely turning into my favourite. And we're going to start this episode off nice and steady, nice and slow, because I'm in a bit of a chill mood today. I've woken up early in the morning and I just feel really relaxed, which is great. And there are two things that I want to talk about, because I have been getting two questions quite a lot lately. One of those is, Asuma, you're a derp, which is more of a statement than a question. Why did you go and remove all of that mycelium if you're just going to build over the top of it? That's actually a fantastic question if you're unaware of why we are removing the mycelium. It's because down in the bottom of the world there, we are going to be building a mushroom farm. And today is the day that we actually finally do and finish that thing, because I started with a design right at the beginning of the season, and then I got demotivated because I needed to remove all of the mycelium, right? That's all done. The design I originally built was rubbish. We've got a better design to build it in the middle there, and that's what we're going to do today. Now, the other question I keep getting asked is, where is the poll? I said I'd try and do one every episode, and now if there's not a poll, people demand it. I get angry comments saying, Asuma, you haven't done a poll in 3 or 4 episodes. So guess what we're going to do right now? We're going to do a poll. I've actually rattled my brain and thought of a question that I'd really like to get an answer from. So there's going to be a poll, and I'm going to encourage you to comment as well. So the poll is basically going to be a question about what you do once you've subscribed to this channel. I'm assuming many of you watching are subscribed, and when you've stumbled upon my channel and then you've hit the subscribe button, first answer is, do you just continue to watch, like the new uploads that I put out there? The second answer would be, do you go and investigate the channel's history, look up old videos, look for playlists of previous seasons and series that I've done? And third of all, do you then go and watch some of those videos and seasons as well? I would love to know. Yeah, put a poll. Do a poll, leave a vote. Oh boy, I get so tongue-tied when I record sometimes. So leave a vote. And also leave a comment down below. Let me know which of those old series you've gone and watched. And I also just want to say something. I get a lot of comments asking me to play City Skylines or Factorio. Games you guys sussed out that I would probably really enjoy. I've actually played those several times in the past. So there are old series that you can go and watch. Just thought I'd mention that as well, as we get that one quite often. So, I've picked up a box of mycelium. We removed it all, but we saved some because we're going to be placing it down there at the bottom of the world for things to spawn. We're going to need another couple of things as well. We will need some light source, mainly glowstone, and we don't need a lot of it for this farm design, so that should probably do me. And then we also need some redstone stuff, but this is actually going to be light on redstone, or at least the farm itself, because we're going to need to design a clock to control this farm, as it's going to be run by a clock. We need observers and we need dispensers, which guess what I don't have in here. Looks like I gotta craft me some of those. Oh man, Johnny's going after the bat. Wreck him, guy. Wreck that bat. The bat's flying kind of close to him. Oh, that's hilarious. Johnny killed that bat, by the way, not this one, because this one's alive, obviously. Anyway, I need to kind of refresh your memory on what's going on here, and also explain to the people that don't understand how passive mob farms work. So in the spawn chunks of Hermitcraft, there are no passive animals, there are no spaces for them to spawn, and the same can be said of this area. However, the animals we do have over here, like our sheep, they've all been name tagged, so they don't contribute to the mob cap, which means we can force all of the spawning onto these mycelium platforms. Now, the reason that we're doing this all the way down at the bottom of the world is because if there is no blocks above the spawning space, the spawning algorithm isn't going to keep going upwards to look for spaces to spawn, meaning that it has sort of like a shorter distance and it runs quicker and quicker. So down here you'll see this blue line. This is the subchunk line. The algorithm is going to work through one subchunk at a time. If it finds no blocks above that subchunk, it goes back to the bottom and goes up again like that. So we're going to build in the first two subchunks, so it's going to run all the way up there, back to the bottom, all the way up again. And that means that by building in this second subchunk, we're technically halving the efficiency of this farm, right? But the deal is we can only just about squeeze in 2 platforms unless I want to rebuild this water basin. In fact, I think I calculated it that even if we rebuilt this down by 1 block, which could be possible, we wouldn't be able to actually squeeze an extra platform in underneath that blue line. The reason that we could move this down, though, is because I realised that you don't actually need this drop down to where the carpet is. The water could go right up against the side of the carpet. Now, another reason for this being at this height here is when the Mooshroom drops down into this water, it can bob up and down a little bit. So, although it would go under this block, it could also bob up and down and rub up against the side of it, which is possibly a problem if it gets stuck here, but I don't think it would. So maybe I could have actually lured that 2 blocks, but hey, I want our farm to look big and impressive, so we're going to build multiple floors. So where we would have had 2 floors, we're now going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So those 8 floors are going to run at half the efficiency, because we're loading a second sub-chunk, okay? But that's 8 over 2. So it's the equivalent of having 4 in the lower sub-chunk. So even if we could squeeze in 1 more floor, it would actually still be better. I failed to mention something as I started recording over here. That is that, of course, if other people are online, this probably isn't going to work, because they'll be in areas with lots of grass and animals. But if I'm the only one online, which does happen, then this thing should, in theory, work. Now, what we're going to use to make it work is water flushing. That much might have been obvious based on the shape of this platform. And the way that we're going to do this is about to get a little bit hairy, because I need to place a block there and I actually can't reach that spot. I think what I'll do is I'll drop down, jump up, place that. Johnny can't get me. And then I can put a dispenser here facing downwards. We are going to use water to flush them out, and we're going to have these dispensers in order to distribute the water. So I can give you a demonstration of this. It's going to go here, it's going to flush outwards all the way to the edge because it's been perfectly timed, and then it's going to retract again. And we'll time that with a redstone circuit so that the animal can move all the way to the edge and fall off. Now, the reason that we got glowstone here is just because if it's nighttime, it will be dark in the central areas, and possibly, you know, if the water is here for too long for some reason, it could destroy the mycelium. In theory, that shouldn't happen because we can time it correctly. It could be that I'm using more glowstone than I need to, you know. So this water flushing system is going to start at the top level and then work its way down. We have the dispenser above the observer. The observer is going to detect the water being placed, and it will pass it down to the next one, and it will also detect the water being removed, and that'll pass it down as well. Now, it turns out that random updates in the world, things that make crops grow, for example, can interfere with water updates. And this was discovered by Il Mango and his Psycraft crew. Nembon was explaining it to me because I was using this classic design and it wasn't working, right? Because I had the observer block the other way around. And it turns out if you detect the water from above, you have all sorts of problems, which is why we've got this design, which is going to be kind of awkward to build because you've got to place these from below, as you saw a moment ago. But it'll end out meaning that this is going to be very reliable. But we should pop over to a creative world and I can show you this problem in action. So if what I just said didn't make much sense, it should be much easier to understand when you can see it. On this side we have observer blocks detecting the water being placed from above. On this side it's the other way around. They detect the water below, and that's where the problem emerges. So if we press the button over here, we're going to see the water distribute very nicely, no problems whatsoever. A little bit of delay between each floor, and you saw there actually it doing something a bit odd, which I'm not seeing it do with that design before. It feels like, you know, no matter how much you test this stuff, after you leave it a while and come back to it, something weird always happens. But it is actually getting rid of the water, it's just being a bit odd. Huh, that's usually what this design does, and it often breaks. And that hasn't broken. Also, there's extra mycelium here. How's that happened? I don't know. I've just been copying and pasting stuff around in this world. So now we're going to activate it from the bottom. And you can see some strange behaviour is starting to emerge, like we saw on the other side actually. But as you can see at the top, this can break quite easily. In fact, the further up you go, the higher this gets, the water gets more and more unreliable. So now when we do this, we're probably going to see some equally strange stuff happening on some of the different floors. Look at that, it's taking way too long, right? And look at the top one. So this one's more reliable, however what I just showed you is rather odd. Hopefully it doesn't do that in the Hermitcraft world. So there it is, all built up, and I had to make an adjustment here and remove a floor. The reason why? Oh, where's the blue box? Oh, it's because we're not standing in that chunk. Bam! Now we can see the blue box. Let's go over here. So the next floor would have actually been just under this blue line here. That means that the algorithm would actually be looking on top of that block. So it would need to have been at this height here. So we now got 7 floors. It still means it's better than keeping it under one sub chunk. But also, in order to get the signal over here, we have to do this. And that means that all of the blocks below this bit right here will now be operating at 33% efficiency. Just these ones, the ones over here and over there will be 50%. So it's kind of interesting how that works. I'm going to leave it there. There might be a better solution to that, but over on this side we have redstone. Oh yes, we do. And I've hooked it up so that when we turn this on, because it's currently turned off, it's actually going to activate the whole thing. And I haven't tested it yet, but the idea is that we've created a pulse lengthener after a clock over here, a classic EFO hopper clock. So this is going to create a signal ever so often. That signal is going to be extended so it can be detected twice by this, giving it an off and an on. Or sorry, the other way around, an on and an off. So there it goes, there's the on. I thought it didn't work for a second, and there's the off. And that, in theory, should be enough time to get the Mooshroom off of the floor, but that did not work the way I expected. Okay, we had something unreliable going on there. It could be me missing a bucket on one of the floors. Let's go see if we can fix this thing. Everything down there is fine, and this is not the fix that I was expecting, but I removed a redstone here, replaced it with a block, because I think that means the subtraction here will make it slightly longer overall, the pulse, that is. So when we activate it again, this time you'll see, there it goes. Takes a while, doesn't it? And it chains all the way downwards. I find it so strange that such a sensitive time difference would have such a huge impact on all of this, but now it works absolutely flawlessly, and I've extended the time in the middle here by adding some more blocks. We've got 48 in there at the moment, and I think we should probably have at least a stack, maybe a couple of stacks, but while I'm in the area working on the thing, I want to keep an eye on it, so I'll keep it running nice and fast for now. I am such a derp, it is unbelievable sometimes. I completely misunderstood what Nembom was telling me, and I guess from my testing, I didn't actually run it long enough to see it mess up, because as I said earlier in the video, random updates will influence the water. So what we're doing here is sending the signal downwards to the dispenser, so we're turning it on, and the next one is going to see that and send it down to the one after that, right? So this observer is going from dispenser to dispenser. The water's got nothing to do with it. So this, in theory, shouldn't break at all. I trust Nembom's word. I'm 100% sure I've got it right now, but I'm also very aware that I could have messed something else up. Let's hope the redstone we built for this will still work, and it should pretty much be the same deal that we saw before, except this won't mess up at all. And there's a lot less delay between each floor as well, which is cool. So now the signal goes back over, and it should do that reliably forever. I'd also like to point out at this point that I haven't seen a single cow spawn while I've been in the area, but I have been really close to this farm. There is also other players online, so that's going to affect it. And as well as that, all the carpets down the bottom here disappeared, and I don't know how that happened. Alrighty then, it's now a new day for me, which makes me think, where was I when I was last recording? And then it makes me think, why don't you go check it out before you hit record? Whatever. Oh, let's try and land somewhere safely. There we go. So I've surrounded this thing with white glass. It's not terribly impressive, is it? It doesn't really hide the ugliness of the mycelium. It doesn't really add too much here, but we need to encase it and make it a little bit more uniform. And I'm thinking of building a sort of semi-domed roof on the top at some point, but I'll leave it for now because I would love some suggestions on how we could potentially make this look a little bit more interesting, as it is going to be like the centerpiece of the base. So what we've gone for so far in the base is having these floors. We've got the ring up the top, then the storage floor, a floor below that, and that might actually be the last of the official floors. Everything else that's going to go down here now might just be one big open area, with this thing being the kind of focal point, right? And what I want to do now is experiment with an idea that I've had for a while, which is to basically create like a diagonal shape coming out from the bottom of this and going all the way around this space, leading to the base. Kind of hard to describe, actually. It's probably better if I do some digging and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, I know, it's not too much to look at, but it sort of gets my point across. I want to just have a shape emerging from the bottom here, and this first one that we've done revolves around the square shape of the floors up above. So somewhere over here there'd be a corner, and it would then turn across to that side. And it is just a steady slope of blocks at the moment. I haven't even begun to think about aesthetics. Now I'm going to do the second one, and I'm going to do it over on this side, and what we're going to do this time is go out diagonally. So we'll keep something like this right next to these blocks. By the way, I made this blue below the glass so it matched the water. I thought that might make it sort of ease in a little bit easier. So then we'd have blocks like this. The question is that also going to be a floor with 2 blocks, or do we go straight up like this? I am not sure. These are questions that need answering, peeps. Are very important. But I just kind of want to get an idea of what these shapes look like. And then I think the next step will be to rebuild this on my plot world server and then use World Edit to build the shape around it, because it's going to be so tricky to figure out what to do here. There's a ton of materials we could use for this floor. There's patterns, there's designs, all sorts of things. And I may want to install some features on here as well that link up to other parts of our base. But already with this being more open, that is starting to look a little bit more impressive when you can see it from further back rather than being pressed up right against it, you know? So I'm going to do some more digging. This isn't really going to go anywhere this episode. I just kind of want to get some feedback from all of you. So I'll dig this bit away over on this side, and then I'll show you how it looks. I'm saying it now, this is enough. I've had enough. It looks kind of ugly, although I have actually just been standing directly on it thinking it looks ugly. Oh god, these rockets last for so long. Okay, so from up here it does look a bit much. We go over into this corner. Oh, there we go. We can't see it because it's hidden away. Well, we can see the top of it. I don't think that's going to work at all, and it won't line up with the corners very well. You see that tower that we built over there? That's basically going to sit right where it is. In fact, these would continue going upwards. I like the idea of that thing going down into the middle of the structure, and we would definitely get that over here as that would wrap into the corner, so that thing would go down like another 12 or 15 blocks, which I think would look really cool. Do you know what? I still got a little bit of digging me. I think what I might do is just do a little bit of the corner over here and bring down that pillar and see if that looks cool. So I've been doing my digging, placing blocks and brainstorming, because I haven't seen a single thing spawn inside of here, and I don't think we've got a single drop yet. But luckily I figured out what the problem is. So I'm the only one online at the moment, and Wells Night was on when I started recording today, so I figured, well, people were on all day yesterday, Wells Night is on today, we have to wait till no one's on. No one's on now and nothing's spawning, but I know what the problem is. So that looks really cool, actually. I feel like the height might be a bit much, but I've got some ideas on what I want to put in these spaces, and I think this is actually the way to go. It might be that this slope starts a little bit too close to this thing, and we might want to make some modifications or changes here and there. I also thought this would be really cool to have like an opening here or there, where all of a sudden you've got some blocks that come out like this, and you have a little pathway leading to another part of the base that you can walk through. That's going to be kind of cool. But we're just taking things one step at a time, and I think this is the way to go. That looks really cool coming down into the space. The one on the other side looks absolutely ugly, and what we're going to do now is fly up. Then we're going to go down, kind of look at it from there. Yep, the way it opens up is going to look absolutely amazing. That is going in the right direction. But let me show you where I goofed. In fact, why don't I show you what I did right first of all, and let's hold a torch because I got Optifine on at the moment. Over here is where I've done things correctly. You will see that these animals, I am a cow, have name tags. I am a pig. So these do not contribute to the mob cap. When we build some mob farms later on, there should be 2 pigs here. There's only 1. When we build mob farms later on, we'll use those, and that means they won't contribute to the mob cap, right? Those are name tagged over there. These chickens are name tagged. Everything is name tagged. I eventually figured out what I had missed, and it's from something that I started doing earlier, got kind of bored with and forgot about. The entire time I've been in that area, all of these sheep here have been loaded. Now there is a difference between these 2 lots of sheep. These ones are upside down, which means they have name tags. They are dinner bones. They do not contribute to the mob cap. These ones here were supposed to be temporary, and then I kind of just got bored with dying and killing them, and now they're actually filling up the mob cap. So what we're going to do is herd these sheep through the nether, give them a little pen on that side, and we can actually continue with the dying and killing of these because we're not shearing them for their wool, so we don't need to see what colour they are. And we can just continue that project, if ever I do, in the nether. So I'm going to move them through, and hopefully that solves all of our problems. Fingers crossed, people, because like I said, we haven't got a single drop from that farm yet, and I think I've sussed out the reason why. I can barely believe how straightforward and simple that was. They came through here without a hitch. Only one of them went back into the portal after it came through, so I just slayed that sucker. Got me some magenta wool, and actually I ran out of food. This is some corked pork chop that I had lying around, and I got some mutton from that cow. Sorry, that sheep. Wow, I'm getting all my words the wrong way around today, aren't I? Anyway, this means that now the farm could technically be running at this very moment, although not because the Nether is loaded and not this place. But now that this place is loaded, it could be running right now. There could be Mooshroom cows spawning, or it could be kind of slow. I don't know what to expect. There could be suckers down there right now. Some might get flushed out. Will we see anything going on here? Okay, I'm putting my brain to work here. I've realised that there's more things that I've missed, and I've made a name tag called Polly. You know, Polly want a cracker and all that. Oh, no. We would just like to name tag... Oh, yeah, okay, you're called Polly. Okay, good. I think I just used about 4 name tags on that one. Oh, goodness me. So, as well as this, I also realised that we have lots of cats in the area. Now, they are tamed cats. They are not wild ocelots. I don't know if tame cats are part of the mob cap or not, but we got 8 in the farm that need to stay down there, the creeper farm of course, and then loads in Cat City. So I've got a ton of work to do, because not only have I got to go around and rename these suckers, there's probably going to be some that have managed to sneak away and hide into obscure places, you know, so I've got to find all of those suckers and take care of them. So the cats in Cat City are all renamed, and now the 4 that are outside here have been done. There are 8 on the inside of the farm, and this is where things get slightly terrifying, because that farm is going to be filled up with creepers, right, and they could so easily explode. I also wonder, there might be some cats down the bottom area here. This thing I reckon just runs around the clock. It looks like there's some gunpowder and records there, and I haven't sorted this thing out at all, have I? I should really be collecting some of that gunpowder. It could be very useful. And I should probably set up some more fence posts with sand, as apparently there's lots of arrows there. So that's technically lagging the world with a few entities, something to take care of course. For now, though, I'm going to very cautiously break into the creeper farm and try and rename our cats in there. This has been a terrifying process, but I've been very patient. Oh, you almost did exactly what I didn't want you to do. Now, if I break that, I can nudge you back in. Okay, crisis averted. You're back in the middle, sorta. Yeah, so there's no creepers in here. I've done the top floor. I've been extremely patient, as I said, just waiting for every creeper to make their way out of them, as I've been spying them from the hole over there. And I think we're good. I am kind of scared that something might drop on my head, though, and it is very dark in here. But 2 more to go, and then I think we've got all of the cats, which means we'll do another check on the farm, and hopefully now we'll have finally got the Mooshroom spawned in. So what can I say, peeps? It works, and I've just AFK'd for 2 hours. I don't think anyone has been online during that time, and I've got such a big smile on my face right now because finally it is working. Oh, and there's been some ghost, let's say it properly, ghost blocks from where I've been doing some digging in this area. Let's take care of those 2. Appears to be only 2. There's some other stuff floating up there from the water. That's the point. The water's going to flow all the way down into this thing. Got to figure that out, you know. I got some cool ideas for what we're going to do with this space as well. Anyway, just heading down the bottom here. I can't see any cows on there at the moment, but I hooked up the hoppers to this chest, and that's how much stuff we've got. And that is pretty awesome for 2 hours. And now consider this. We're going to be in this space all the time, right? This area is always going to be loaded. We are going to be pumping this stuff out, and I haven't really thought about how we're going to move the items, where we're going to move them to, and what exactly it is we're going to do with them. Like, we might want to always smelt the food. That is a thought. Do I have an ender pearl? I do. And there was one last thing that I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, the clock that I built over there is kind of temporary. As you can see, it's sort of floating above all of this that we're building. So eventually that'll be moved around. If you've got any other ideas for this thing right here, I was thinking maybe a tripwire might work. Like we could push an armor stand up into a tripwire, and then that means it could go all the way across, maybe even further, and it wouldn't be very visible as well. I really like that idea. I'm glad I said that out loud because it sounds even better when you're looking at it. And boy oh boy is this base project getting more and more awesome with every episode. Right, that is going to be it from me. This one, I do hope you have enjoyed it. Leave a comment, let me know what you think of the slopes around the bottom here. I'm pretty sure most of you are going to go with the one I'm standing on, not the one behind me. That one looks kind of ugly. And we've already done a poll, so I won't make it a poll. Leave a comment. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.